Hello everyone, my name is Lisa and I'm the Viet Vegan because I'm Vietnam vegan, and today we're doing a what I eat in a week in two parts because I don't want to put out another like half-hour video. That's a lot. Yeah, I'm going to split them up. Today I'm going to be sharing what I eat in a week, sponsored by Squarespace. So a big shout out to Squarespace. I'll tell you more about them in a moment. But as you can see here, I'm making some Dalgona coffee. I'm also talking through these clips, but there's no sound because this is still when my microphone was busted. I have cleaned off the microphone and it works a lot better now. But for this first installment of the What I Eat in a Week, this is before I realized that the microphone was messed up, and then next episode of What I Eat in a Week, the sound will be better. Here I'm making my Dalgona coffee, which is just like the instant coffee plus sugar plus water whipped up with soy milk, and then that is my coffee. And then for my breakfast, I'm having some toast with some bean spread. I'll link the recipe because I posted this recipe on my Instagram if you guys want that recipe. It's just like white beans and like a bunch of onion and spices and stuff, and it's just full of protein. It's very delicious, and I normally top it with tempeh, but all my tempeh was in the freezer, so I didn't feel like unfreezing it. So later on I had a snack. I had a bit of Bad Monkey popcorn, which is just the original popcorn. It's butter popcorn, but vegan, obviously, with some water. So next I'm preparing these sweet potatoes. So I obviously have been following Liz Miu for a long time. She has been posting nonstop these sweet potato lattes. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna steam some sweet potatoes and make myself a latte. I just need to use these sweet potatoes because I bought a whole bag and then I did nothing with them. So I was like, okay, I gotta cook with them because they're starting to go a little funky, you know? Clean them all off. I prick them with a fork, or more like stab them with a fork, and then I'm steaming them in my Instant Pot. I use this like sort of gauge to tell me how long I'm supposed to pressure cook them or steam cook them in the Instant Pot for. So it's based on like how big they are across. So I think with the size of the ones that I had to steam for about like 50 minutes, which is like quite a long time actually. But they came out like really perfectly and they were very good. So I would recommend steaming them that way. I'll link the resource that I used down below. But with some of the other sweet potatoes, Eddie wanted some sweet potato fries. So I decided to try doing that. I wasn't really following any recipe. So I just kind of like winged it. They turned out pretty good. They were like crispy, but really soft on the inside. So I think like the best way to like have sweet potato fries is to like either deep fry them or like batter them and cook them, because like I can never get them in a way that's like they're not just like soggy but also crispy. I don't know, it's like a weird texture. I like them, but Eddie wasn't a huge fan. So for dinner, we had some Beyond sausages with sauerkraut. Well, I had the sauerkraut because Eddie doesn't like that. And then for our vegetable intake, we did some frozen vegetables. So I had peas, corn, and carrot. This is like what happens on the weekend when I'm like really lazy and really tired and I need to eat something, but like I don't really feel like eating anything. So we tend to go for like mock meats like Beyond Meat and then frozen vegetables. And it's a good time, you know, I just kind of like boil them in some water, strain them, add some vegan butter, add some black pepper. And it is, you know, a vegetable-y good time with all that jazz. And then for a beverage, we did some lemon juice with some ginger ale, and it was, you know, it was a good time. A solid little bubbly sweet drink with a little lemony goodness. Before we head into what I ate the next day, let me tell you about today's sponsor, Squarespace. If you're starting a new side hustle, or you're creating an online store, finally starting that blog that you've always wanted to, or you need a website to showcase your portfolio, Squarespace is an incredible platform that has pre-made templates where you can drag, drop, and customize to create your own beautiful website. The templates are always mobile friendly and don't require any updates. They do that all for you. I used it for my wedding website and it only took me a couple hours to get everything set up. I sent out invites, had people submit RSVPs through the integrated Google Forms, and put directions for our wedding all in one place. So if you want to get started on Squarespace, go to squarespace.com/VietVegan and use code VietVegan to get 10% off your first order. So for the next day, I wanted to try some sweet potato latte action. I wasn't actually following any recipe because I was just winging it and I was being lazy because I didn't have my phone with me, or my phone is, I don't know, whatever. I just didn't have the recipe, okay? So I have some sweet potato, some soy milk, and some maple syrup, and then I poured it over ice. I definitely needed to water it down because that is a thick smoothie. And I want it to be like a thin sort of drinkable latte. So yeah, I tried it. It is surprisingly very good. It's very mellow. It's not really a latte at all, but you know, I liked it. I do need caffeine though. So I would drink again. I would thin it out a lot more, but yeah, would have again. Then for our actual breakfast, we had some pancakes. Now this is like the dry ingredients from my pancake recipe. I can link that down below. I basically don't really measure. I just kind of go by feeling. I've made this pancake recipe so many times. We ran out of soy milk actually, so I decided to use chocolate soy milk. The flavor in the end is basically regular pancake with a hint of chocolate. So if you want more chocolatey pancakes, I would suggest taking out like maybe 2 tablespoons of flour and replacing it with cocoa powder, as well as using the soy milk for that amped up chocolatey flavor. And I like to make the batter a little bit thinner than I normally would in the video, just because I find that I like a thinner pancake, I think. But that's just what I've been doing lately. So we're cooking this on our griddle. We have like a plug-in electric griddle, which is perfect for pancakes because my cast iron doesn't really love pancakes sometimes. I don't know what it is. I need to season that, I think, better. But yeah, we cooked up some of these. We also cooked up some Gardein patties to go with them. I eat them with maple syrup. Eddie likes to eat them with maple syrup on both the patties and the pancakes, but personally I just like a little bit of butter, a little bit of maple syrup. Then for dinner, I was kind of like doctoring up this dal fail that I had in my last What I Eat in a Day. As you can tell, I filmed this like kind of like at the end of April. Yes, it's the end of May. I know things have been going on. But yeah, I added some sweet potato, I added some soy milk. The dal that I made was a little bit too thick because I had like a little bit too much red lentils in there. So I thinned it out. I added some red curry paste. I added some water into the coconut carton or whatever, shook it up, and then just poured that back out. So it's not just like a ton of coconut milk. I mean, there is a lot of coconut milk in there, but there's also water in there, so don't be alarmed. I added some mushroom broth powder. I turned this Indian curry into a Thai one because I guess I just prefer that. I added a bit of vegan fish sauce. I found this at B&T's in Kitchener. You might be able to find them at your local Asian grocery store if you live in a place that has like a lot of Buddhist communities, which is like typically where I find the most vegetarian options. So for example, in Mississauga, the one by like the Chinatown, there's a ton of vegan options in terms of like mock meats and stuff there because we have a pretty big Buddhist community in Mississauga. And then I added some spinach. I have some steamed rice that I have put on the side. I decided to fancy it up and add it to like a little bowl, but then I kind of made the whole dish ugly anyway by being lazy and pouring the soup, but it turned out a lot better. Eddie was more willing to eat this, and if you're concerned about like protein, like I said, there's a lot of like lentils like overcooked, so it's like kind of just in that soup, so every now and then it's like a chunk of lentil, so there is some protein in there. I think if I were to make that again, I would blend up the sweet potato first, because every couple bites I would get some like fibers of sweet potato, so I think I would blend the sweet potato separately and then pour it into the soup. For a beverage, I had some pineapple juice and some sparkling water, and then later that night I had some of these Flourish chips. They're like popcorners chips for a snack. So for the next day I had yet again some Dalgona coffee. This is before I got my hand mixer. I got a used hand mixer from one of my friends. I also ran out of soy milk, so I found I had some coffee creamer left over, so I mixed water and coffee creamer. Oh my god, that is a good time. I don't know, it tastes exactly like a cappuccino. It is very sweet and very rich, but oh my god, it is so delicious. The only thing that was really sad is that I only was able to drink like a third of it because I immediately spilled it all over my counter, and I was really upset about it. This is like around 3 o'clock. We didn't even eat anything because we went grocery shopping, and it's like a whole affair with like Costco. There's like lines, you have to like wait. So we did a big grocery haul, and those are all the groceries. So I spent a good chunk of time sanitizing the groceries and putting them away. I didn't film the grocery haul because I was just way too tired and way too hangry. Yeah, it was like 3 hours of shopping. Wouldn't recommend, but that's just kind of the nature of grocery shopping these days. So Eddie made some breakfast sandwiches. I actually have a video for a version of these breakfast sandwiches if you want to make them at home with some eggy tofu. We use some Gardein breakfast patties and then some chow cheese with vegan butter, of course. So that was our breakfast. And then we had some what we call special drink. So we use orange juice, a little bit of grapefruit juice, and sparkling water. And that is our little special juicy drink. And then for this clip, I don't know why I kept it in, but basically I went on a little bike ride. It was like a half-hour bike ride, and we were very pooped. And then immediately after, we made some dinner. So I had a lot of red onions because we only wanted to buy one red onion, but I only found a bag of them. So I was like, okay, well, what I'm gonna do with all these red onions, I'm gonna pickle them. So I actually shared the recipe for the pickle on my Instagram as well. I can link that down below. I think it's like loosely based off of one I found from Cookie and Kate, or it's like similar to the radish one that I used from Cookie and Kate. So I just needed the basic ratio of vinegar and water, and then I just played around with it, added some extra stuff. So yeah, I made some pickles. These are actually so good. And then for the rest of the what I eat in a week for this video and like subsequent days after, I basically was making meals just so I could eat more of these pickled onions. They were so good. So I'm just prepping some stuff for some barbecued burgers. So we had some Beyond Meat burgers. As you can see, these past couple days I was feeling very unmotivated, so we had a lot of quick, easy sort of meals. I was also like like super tired that day. But we had some crinkle cut fries because they are the best fries aside from curly fries. Curly fries are pretty good too. So we oven baked those fries. We had some burgers, had some toppings. We topped them with chow cheese. And then I also found V8 at Costco, and I actually really love V8. So I decided to have V8, and then I added some hot sauce, but I realized it is very high in sodium. My sodium intake this entire vlog is kind of whack, but you know what? That's fine. Yeah, these onions are super, super good, and I found them to be the perfect amount of zip because I like onions, but I don't like raw onions that much, especially not red onions because they're very zippy. Eddie really likes how zippy they are, but I find them perfectly zippy when they're pickled. So yeah, that was our dinner. I had some burgers, some fries, some V8, you know, lots of salt, but also lots of vegetables. And Eddie tried a V8 and decided that he didn't like it. So I ended up drinking the rest of his. And so, you know, that was a lot more hot sauce that I had to consume, you know, to compensate for the extra V8, you know what I'm saying? But I was actually so full after this, I was not hungry for any other snacking or anything after that. So that was our dinner. And actually that wraps up. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Just kidding. I had an apple. I had an apple afterwards for dessert. And then afterwards, I was too full to eat anything else. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up the first portion of this What I Eat in a Week. Like I said, for the next video, I will have less voiceover because I fixed my camera / the microphone on that camera by then because I realized it was messed up. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video so far. Thank you again, Squarespace, for sponsoring this video, and stay tuned for the second portion of this What I Eat in a Week. Let me know down below if you have also been eating lots of burgers or sausages or barbecue type things because of the nicer weather. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a delicious day.